Joined by Nicole Georgas, is the mother of a student, a 13-year-old girl at Shepherd Middle School in Illinois. We've discussed Nicole's case on the show, and she gave an impassioned speech at a school board meeting speaking out against how her daughter has been treated. And we'll talk about that. We'll get to all that. But first, Nicole, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Matt. I really appreciate it.
Now, for anyone not familiar with your case, let's just walk through what happened, kind of what led you up to the point of speaking to the school board, and then we're going to talk about what happened after that. But so can you just kind of take us through the whole story with your daughter from start to end?
Sure. Thank you. So my daughter is a middle schooler, and she is 13 years old. She went to school on a normal day and was in the bathroom where she was using the bathroom, and a boy was in the stall next to her. When she exited, she came home, talked to her dad and I, and we said the next day, go talk to your teacher, find out why he was in the bathroom, because she knew he was a boy with genitalia, male genitalia. We'll just say it like it is. And when she talked to her teacher the next day, her teacher said he now identifies as a she, and that he would be using the bathroom as well as the locker room now. She was very upset, as her dad and I were very upset. So we reached out to the administration with a phone call as well as an email, and said that the Trump administration had put an executive order into place. And we said that obviously maybe you're not on top of things as you should be. And obviously what is going on now with the school. They said, let's have a follow-up with the phone conversation, which we had the phone conversation with the principal. The principal said, we are not following the executive order. We are following the state law. And I said, well, if that's how it's going to be, I'm filing a civil rights complaint today. This was on February 7th. A couple weeks had gone by. Nothing had really happened. The girls had been going to pee as usual, but we'd been preparing that this child was going to be using the girls' locker room. The child was then using the girls' locker room on his own, where he was being brought in on his own without the girls being present. So he was using the girls' locker room like on his own without the girls being in there. So after lunch or before lunch, I don't know exactly how it was, but he was being taken into the girls' locker room without the girls in there. So he was getting special treatment, from what I understand. So then came mid-February, or the end of February, where the girls had decided when he was going to be in there, they did not want to change with him present in the locker room. So they all decided to not wear their uniform with him present. They made a little protest. The PE teachers were fine with that. They said, you don't have to change. Fine. As long as you put on your gym shoes, we're okay with that, which was wonderful. The next day, the assistant principal pulled multiple girls into her office and reprimanded them, asking them, why did you do this? This is against policy. You need to wear your uniform. That same day, she brought in this assistant superintendent. Now, this assistant superintendent does not have an office at Shepherd Middle School. She is across in a different office building where the district protest was that night, where I had spoke that. So she had to get in her car to come to Shepherd Middle School that day. She was there, and then two other teachers were there to make the girls change into their uniform with the child present that day. My daughter changed that day. She was forced. Now comes the next day. The same parties had to come there. So she, again, had the assistant superintendent had to drive to the school, get in her car. Same thing happened. That's when my daughter, with the male was in the locker room with them. He was going to change. And that's when my daughter said, no way, not happening. I am not changing in front of this kid. She got on the phone, called me, hysterical crying, called her father too, and said, what do I do? I'm not changing. And I said, absolutely straight. You are not changing. Not happening. Thank God she had her phone with her. And she ran out of the locker room, hysterical, crying. And she said, I'm going to get in trouble. I can't have a phone here. I said, you're not going to get in trouble. Put me on the phone to the first person, adult you see, because I will have a serious conversation with them, which I did. And I went absolutely postal on the phone to the first person that I talked to. And I said, how dare you do this? How dare you make my change in front of all of these women? And how dare you make my daughter try, because she wouldn't change in front of this boy. I said, he has a penis. He absolutely has a penis, and it's not happening. And that's what happened. Then I followed up with an email to the principal, and his response was, we can just have your daughter move to a different PE class for the remainder of the year. And I said, nope, not happening either. Why should my daughter have to move to a different PE class? She has done nothing wrong. She is a girl. She remains in that PE class. The only thing my daughter's not doing is she's not changing for the remainder of the year. And that's where we're at today now, until I went to the board meeting.
I'm juggling life as a husband, father, and show host. Trust me, things are generally chaotic around here. Can you imagine trying to somehow eat 31 different fruits and vegetables every single day? It sounds absolutely miserable, not to mention the hours it would take. And to be honest, sometimes I just want to roll through a drive-thru and order something that would make a doctor quietly weep. But that's where Balance of Nature Fruits and Veggies comes in. It's literally the easiest way to get all those fruits and vegetables that you should be eating, 31 whole ingredients to be exact, into your diet. Balance of Nature takes real fruits and vegetables, freeze-dries them, which preserve all the good stuff, grinds them into powder, and stuffs them into convenient capsules. Just take them daily, and your body handles the rest. No chopping, no prep, none of that at all. Go to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Walsh for 35% off your first order as a preferred customer. Plus, get a free bottle of fiber and spice. That's balanceofnature.com, promo code Walsh. Yeah, well, before we get to, because your experience at the meeting, I certainly want to talk about. But before we get there, so you told your daughter to put you on the phone with the first adult she saw, and you expressed your...
After she ran out.
Right. And so you expressed your very righteous anger to this adult. What did this adult say back? Anything?
She just kept saying, Mrs. Georgas, you're directing your anger at the wrong person. I think it was the secretary that I spoke to, because okay. I was raging. I mean, I rightfully so. I was screaming. I didn't swear, but I was absolutely beside myself. I said, "Are you proud of yourself? Are you absolutely proud of yourself?" And I just kept saying, this child has a penis.
Yeah. I just want to...
These girls are 13 years old. They are little girls.
Of course. So
those games here.
Just to kind of reiterate this, because I find it's so baffling to me.
Yeah.
That
it's got to be all on video on FOIA. When it comes through, you'll see my daughter running down the halls. You'll see teachers all going into the locker room. When the FOIA comes out, it's going to be all there.
And just to be very clear, it was a group of adults actually physically in the locker room.
Yes.
And the boy was there, and they were saying to the daughter and the other girls, you have to get changed right now, and yes. While they were watching. Is that it?
Yes, and then on the District 109 policy, it says that no child is required to change. Well, if no child is required to change, why were there adults there? And why was an administrator driven every single day if no child's required to change? District 109. So
this is what takes us through the initial incident, and you end up in this. It was a school board meeting, correct?
Yes. Where I would say 85% of the people do not live in Deerfield, do not reside in Deerfield, do not have children that even go to Shepherd Middle School or any of the schools in Deerfield. They were activists that were told that there would be Moms for Liberty people there. I was the only person from Liberty, the only one person.
Yeah, so
single person.
In the video,
they were planned activists.
Right, so these activists that came in from out of town. The video is pretty incredible and pretty startling, because you obviously are so clearly in the right about this situation, and yet in the video anyway, it appeared that you were totally outnumbered by a bunch of frankly lunatics. Is that what it was in the room? Were you the only sane person in the room, or were there other people on your side that were there?
No, there was two other moms and one dad and my husband that was standing in the because he had no seats because there was nobody else, and there was police officers there too. I had to be escorted out because they were all following me to my car.
They were following you to your car. What were they doing? Yelling at you while you? What were they doing?
They yelled at me the whole time. And the school board was telling them they were telling us because they were screaming the whole time at us, directing every time that they would talk, they would turn around and yell at us. I just sat there the whole time and just kind of just laughed at them. I didn't. If you watch the whole video, I didn't even say a word because it just was actually comical how they behaved. I mean, they made absolutely they were a joke. They were an absolute joke, and they don't have any say in what goes on in our district. They don't live here. They don't have children that go here. There was maybe a few people there that actually lived in the district, and but they didn't even have kids that actually attended Shepherd.
Now, what about?
And there was a few people that did live in the district, and they didn't even stand up and speak. So shame on them.
Absolutely. And I was going to ask you, so your daughter was not the only girl that was in this situation. What about the parents of the other girls? Have any of them joined you in speaking out against this?
Not yet, no, but there's been over 50 complaints currently right now in Deerfield. Representative Mary Miller of Illinois has over 50 complaints currently right now in Deerfield. Right now, she is calling on President Trump to codify the executive order and make it law. So we call on the congressman right now, calling congressmen to codify it, because right now there's over 50 complaints currently.
And what's the how has the school responded in the midst of all this, and now with all the attention it's getting? What's the atmosphere like?
They're standing down right now. When there's a federal complaint, they're standing down, saying they put a policy up online on District 109 saying that there was 5 private spaces in the locker room and that none of the children are required to change. Well, if they're not required to change, why would you bring in teachers every single day? And 5 private spaces, there's 25 to 30 girls in the gym class. How does that add up?
Is the boy still allowed to use the changing room, the girls' changing room currently?
Every day. The kids are on spring break because they go by what you identify with.
And how's your daughter doing right now with all this?
She's super strong right now. She's definitely getting ostracized in school right now. I've talked to the principal about it multiple times. She was told to leave her lunch table by a very mean girl, that she doesn't belong at her lunch table. So we have had to have a conversation with the principal about that twice, and the principal said, well, that child has the right to believe what she wants. So, I mean, this is where we're at, and that's okay. If then that's somebody that, everybody has their right to believe what they want, and there's nothing we can really do about that.
Sure, but not to harp on it, but so there aren't a lot of other parents right now in that school that are kind of joining with you.
There is right now. There's a lot, but there's people that they just do not. They are very afraid of the woke mob in Deerfield. There's a huge woke mob in Deerfield.
Sure. Well, and
it very, very much so is, and it's strong. It's a very strong woke mob that you need to keep your face very, very. You just cannot. You can't have your image. How can I say it? You have to keep your image very clean here. I have no problem. I will stand alone, and I know facts, and I don't really care. I know what's the truth, and this is where we're at.
Have you felt you had to worry for your safety or your daughter's safety at all through all this?
I mean, a little bit, especially when you have your local rep attacking you and your family on the House floor. That's pretty sad. And
what did the local rep say on the House floor?
He called us liars on the house floor. I mean, and he lives in our town, and he attacked us on the house, on the house floor.
Wow.
Springfield, and that's pretty sad. I mean, you're shaming a little girl, a victim, called us liars on the house floor. So we went down to Springfield 2 days later and showed our face to show we're not going to hide. We will stand up for ourselves. I'm not afraid. And stood there and actually did a speech on the house, did a speech in Springfield and stood there proud because we know what's the truth. We know what's right. And I will not hide.
Good for
I'm
you.
proud. I'm very proud. And I've so backing us. And the thing is, I've had so many emails from local Deerfield families that have been here for 40, 50 years that are so disgusted what has happened to this town and are so proud. And also past Shepherd families that this is the reason why they left Deerfield, because of this community, because of what these people, these administrators have did to their kids. And they're so proud. Wrote Kate letters. That's my daughter. It's just, and I don't care. I will fight till the death over this because I know what's right. And I've talked to Riley Gaines. I've talked to Caitlin Wheeler. I've talked to, Jennifer Say. I've talked to this is the reason why I know what's right. And I will fight forever for these girls, even if it means I'm standing alone.
Now, when it comes to fighting, what's the next step in the fight?
Policy change. That's all I care about. I don't want any girl to have to walk in a bathroom with a boy. That's it. That's all I care about. Keep it common sense. Sense. Keep it simple.
Do you have any? Do you have hope? Is there a real? Do you feel there's a movement for actual policy change in the state?
I hope so. I think we have the administration on our side, so I think that things will. I think we have a wonderful president that I think is behind us, and I thank God for that. And I think that I thank God for that. I think if it was a couple years ago, absolutely not. We would be in a very different situation. I have hope. I have hope. I have hope in God, and I have faith in God every day. So I pray, and we have a good representation. So,
well, Nicole Georgas, what you and your daughter are going through is just, as I said, it's mind-boggling, it's baffling, it's outrageous. But the reality is that there's many kids across the country going through similar things. So thanks for your courage in fighting back against this, and please keep us posted on the progress.
Absolutely. Thank you again for having me, Matt. I really appreciate it.